Sorry about that, but I have to say, I normally say whenever I'm done with my eating, sleeping, shitting, the first thing I say, 880,000 nuclear and atomic bombs, I'll fuse them all. I'll punish the bullet using all the nuclear and atomic bombs of Russia, using all the nuclear and atomic bombs of America. That is the first line I utter whenever I'm done with my eating and sleeping and shit. That's the kind of Lord I am, and that's the kind of God I am. Then I give my kisses like this. Mm, 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 mm. And then I say my second line of statement, and I say, because I am who I am, and I was who I was, and I will always be who I will always be, the same old crap almighty. So I say my second line of statement, I literally grab and drag this entire motherfucking bullet, and I drag it and shove it right inside the fatherfucking heaven. Then I'll get this entire bullet, and I'll drag it and shove it right at the center of the core of the Milky Way galaxy, and the center and the core of the sun and the moon and the stars and the stellar and the galactic. And I'll punish the bullet the godly way. So there are certain ways how I'll punish this earth. One of the way I punish is using the non-godly method, the kingly method or the royal method. The kingly method and the royal method and the monarchy method and the queenly method. And the kingly method I use is when I say nuclear atomic bombs, I'll fuse them all. That's the kingly method. And the queenly method and the monarchy method that I normally use to punish the earth. And the second way I punish the earth, they're saying that I literally going to drag the earth right at the center of the sun and blow it up into pieces. Of course, that is not a kingly level. That is the level of God. This is how I say I grab this bullet like this with one arm, and I'll drag it and shove it right at the center of the sun, and I'll grill it and fry it like an inferno. So that is the level of God. Or I'll say I'll get the stars and the Milky Way galaxies and the sun and the moon and the stars and galaxies and the known and unknown universes, the heavens and the earth and the gardens of the heavens, and I'll crash them all on top of this earth. So that is not a king's level. That is God's level. So that is another level, another way, and I want to punish the earth. So either I'll punish the earth using my kingly force and might and power, or I'll punish the earth using my God's power and the God's throne and the crown. One of the two. And then when I'm done with punishing the both, the king's way as well as the God's way, right after that I say, this is exactly who myself is, because I am who I am, and I was who I was, and I will always be that same old self who I am. I will never ever change, because I am might, I am power, I live with might and I live with power. With the power of gods and with the power of kings, I am power. The kingly power, the queenly power, the monarchy power, and as well as there's all that power comes from two thrones of mine. I normally say the throne of the heaven is the God's throne, and the throne of the earth is the king's throne, or the queen's or the monarch's throne. So from these two thrones I get my power. So whenever I shift myself to the throne of the earth, then I say I'm going to use 880,000 nuclear and atomic bombs, and I'll blow this earth into pieces. And when I shift myself to the throne of the heavens, then I say, I literally gonna get all the known and unknown universes, the stars and the galaxies, the Milky Way galaxy, and all the stellar and galactic, and I'll crash them all onto this earth. That is when I speak from the upper throne of mine. And when I speak from the lower throne of mine, I normally say I'll use 880,000 Russian nuclear bombs as well as American nuclear bombs and blow it up into pieces, the entire whole earth. So there are two ways I shift my power. Sometimes I shift my power from the upper throne of mine, or the throne of the heaven of mine, or the heavenly throne of mine, or sometimes I shift my power from the lower throne of mine, or the lower house of mine, from the lower throne of mine, meaning the atomic bombs and nuclear bombs. So either I shift my power from the House of Lords, the upper house of Parliament, or I shift my power from the House of MPs, from the lower house, or the beneath house, that is the House of MPs. Either I get it from the House of MPs, members, House of Members, I get my power from the House of Members, or I get my power from the House of Lords. Whenever I get my power from the House of Lords, means from the upper parliament. From the upper parliament, getting my power, and the House of MPs mean from the lower parliament. So I get my power from these two houses, and as well as I get my power from these two houses, I got my power from the Buckingham Palace, I get my power from the White House, and I get my power from the royal crowns as well. And all these Williams and Harrys and Elizabeths and Charlottes, all these are the crowns, they power me up. So I get my power from these crowns, and as well as I get my power from gods. Then after I get my power from all the gods of this earth, all the known gods and all the unknown gods, I get power from all the different kind of gods. Once I get power from all the different kind of gods, then I become the one single God. So I get all the gods. I get power from the God Allah. I get the power from God Krishna. I get the power from God Vishnu, God Brahma. I get power from the God Vaheguru. I get the power from God, Jewish God, the Jehovah and Yahweh. I get the power from the Christian God, the Christ Almighty and the Heavenly Father and the Jesus Christ. And I get power from the Muslim God Muhammad and Allah. Then I get the power from the Hindu gods, the Brahma and the Vishnu and the Krishna, and then I get the power from Vahegurus, the Sikh god, then I get the power from the Chinese god, the great Buddha. So I get power from all these different gods, then eventually I'll pile all these powers into one container, and I say, this is that powerful self right now, that I've got power of all the gods in me. Then I become the one and only container of powers. Then I say, I am not just God, but I am the God of gods. I am the God of gods, the most powerful is God of the heaven and earth. Then I say, do not question about the wrath and anger of mine. Do not question about the wrath and anger of your God. I'm literally going to grab this, every building and every road and every bridge. I'll turn them into ashes instantly. You don't know how powerful this God is right now. So, getting power from all the different gods, from different places, turns me into that self, the most powerful self ever. Then I say, this is when I single myself out. And I say, I'm the singlest self ever, and the most unique one ever, and most one ever. Then I single myself and I say, I am who I am, I ooze who I ooze, the crown of crowns, the throne of thrones, the chair of chairs, and I praise myself. I say, the praise and glorifications belong to myself. I am the heaven and the earth and the heaven. I'm the earth and the heaven and the heaven and the earth. Then I say, I am so big and so massive. There is nothing equal to me. There is nothing same as me. I am the highest self of the heaven and the highest self of the earth, and I am who I am. And then I become the most one, the most massive one ever anything could imagine. This is how big I become. I become the most biggest self ever. Anyway, by the way, so this is just a bit about myself, how big I can be and how small I can be. But when I become big, I make sure I am the biggest self ever existed of the heaven. I'm the biggest self ever existing of the heaven, and I'm the biggest self ever will exist of the earth and of the heaven. That's how big I become. Anyway, have a nice time, guys.